Hello everyone, thank you so much for taking some time to watch this short video. My name is Theo Elsey and I'm a trustee of a UK-based charity called Ugandan Support. And I have some very special friends today because the work of our charity is in supporting the ministry of Pastor John Buyungo and his wife Molly Buyungo. And I'm just going to ask them a few questions about their work so you get a little bit of a better idea of exactly what they're doing in Uganda. So, John, you came to Busia, didn't you, around 2000?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, that's right.
And you had it on your heart to start a church there?
Yeah, God put it on my heart to start a church.
That's very good. And this was not the area that you originally came from. I know you came originally from the southwest of Uganda.
Yes, in Masaka.
And you felt that the Lord led you to do this work in Busia.
Yes.
And I happen to know, because we've been talking about this, that there has been a migration of people who've come down from the north,
Yeah,
who've been caught up in a lot of civil unrest and conflict in the very north of Uganda, and they come to Busia, where you are, looking for refuge. So how do you face up to that as a church? Is it something that you have a passing interest, or are you really more involved in that? We would love to know more.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Theo. As a church, it's a challenge and also a privilege to have all these people around us migrating from the north and even from other towns coming to Busia for opportunities. But at the same time, because there are so many, they don't receive those opportunities and some end up on the streets. And as a church, it's a privilege to work with them, but also a challenge because their need is so big and we can do what we can. We are being supported by a charity in UK, of which you are on the committee, and Ugandan Support. And with that, plus the church, we reach out to these street children and other people who need our help and give them a feeding. We've got a feeding program on which we put them on.
Yeah.
And for those who need medication, we try to help them to reach the proper medical facilities. And for those who need shelter, we do what we can to give them shelter. But we really need lots of hands to come in to help in this, because
the work is quite immense, isn't it?
It's quite immense.
Sometimes it seems like there's so much to do, and how can you all do it by yourselves? Yes.
And yeah, it reaches a point where you find that we have learned to train those we have got to help us to help the others who we haven't yet got. So out of all this, we train even those from the street to help the others on the street to know more about God, to evangelize them, to tell them about the normal life living. And also we are having a program at the moment where we want to have skills for them, especially the youth above 15, so that they can learn skills like carpentry, building, tailoring, and hairdressing, a bit of computer for those who can. So
and these would all be opportunities which would not be open to them at all, perhaps, if you weren't doing this work.
No, because they would need to have their educational certificates to go to a college. But for us, we are voluntarily opening up for anybody who can be introduced to these skills, and we will give them all the support to learn.
Yes. So you're saying really that you're like a father and a mother to them, aren't you? Because where other families can perhaps afford more easily to put their children into school and then to college to take up the vocational trades and professions, these kids who find themselves on the street, in many cases they have no parents, they really are orphans, and what chance have they got for a future? And this is where this is where your church, Mercy Church in Busia, steps in to help. But Molly, I would like to turn to you now, because I don't really think that perhaps everyone who's watching this video actually believe how young some of these street kids are, ones that you find just roaming on the streets, living rough. I know that you have told me in the past, you know, so how young some of these kids are. I mean,
well, these children, they are from the age like 4 or 5.
Really?
Because there's time when you're like doing our visiting the street and you ask them, they say, oh, I came on the street when I was 4. So they are as young as from 4 up to the age of like 19, 20. And so it's a big challenge, and we just take it as day by day.
Yes. Because I wanted to get that in, because you know, John was rightly talking about the prospects of their future as they look at ending their schooling and going into vocational work, and that's very good, and you know, we're really excited about the prospects of how you're going to be helping in that way in the future. But immediately what we're looking at is a spectrum of ages from 4 or 5 years right up to adolescence. And so in one sense, you know, how you raise up these kids from the infancy, you know, the younger age right through to young adults. It's a program which is going to obviously last for some years, and you're going to see some of these youngsters work all the way through. So what happens in the church at the moment with the real youngsters? Do you have, I would imagine the women folk in the church help you in really looking after these very young ones? Do you have like a kind of day nursery or anything like that for the children?
Well, for the moment, we don't have a day nursery, but it's one of our future program. However, ladies in the church, they do come on daily basis to help with like cooking and serving them, and it's all on volunteer basis.
And of course, so much of African church spills out from the church building. It's outside in the church grounds. You know, everything happens outside the buildings as much as inside the building. So when these kids come to the church, you know, I've been there, I've seen what it's like, and it's wonderful because so much goes on. So children can come, can't they? And they know that they're going to be looked after, loved and cared by everyone in the church. Yeah, that's wonderful.
And I think basically what we do is just to express God's love towards these children, and at the same time it's like we can't say that we can wipe away all the vulnerability in Uganda, but what we are doing is to minimize the vulnerability by giving hope to these children, the future, by educating them, showing them love. Just even by talking to them, it makes a difference in their lives, and to know that somebody out there is recognizing them. There are about 7 children looking for sponsors. There's 3 children whose mother is in her last stages of AIDS and HIV, and so they're like aged from between 5 and 12. And also we do have another 3 children who are really in need of sponsorship. Basically it's because, well, even though in Uganda we do have free education, but it's not totally that everything is free, whereby you have to buy uniform, buying school books, all school requirements, plus lunch, and all administration fee. So they still need some help in order to have education.
So we need a contribution towards the schooling costs.
And medical fees, and feeding.
And feeding, yes, right, okay. And we thank you so much for visiting us here in the UK. It's not so often that the two of you can come together because you have such a busy program in Uganda. One or the other might come, but to have you both here at this particular time is wonderful.